Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Virgo, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, the links to all of those things, my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Buy Me a Coffee donation and services page are all listed in the About section of my YouTube page, and I thank you so much in advance. Virgo, I hope that you're doing well. I'm using 2 decks for your reading today. The first one for the overall energies, What We've Forgotten Oracle deck, and the Tarot of the Abyss. So, cards have been pre-shuffled. This is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, for Venus. Okay, that was very fast. Number 8, the number of the self, corresponds to the major arcana. Leo energy, thank you, Spirit. The number of the self. Spirit wants you to really look at yourself, look at your well-being, your own sense of health, Spirit just said, your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health. The card is the cardinal directions. Absolutely stunning. I love imagery like this. It's so intricate. On first glance, it's almost like you're looking at a motherboard, right? It's making me think of immediately the comparisons that archaeologists and scientists have discovered, the correlations, more so archaeologists and probably some conspiracy theorists and esoteric travelers. They look at the old ruins of ancient cultures, and there are some stunning comparisons between the layout of those ancient sites and modern technology. So literally you can superimpose photographs of archaeological sites, ancient sites, and superimpose a picture of like a motherboard or, you know, a microchip, and the way that microchips are constructed. You can superimpose them and they look almost identical. The whole thing about computers is that computers were first created and they were modeled after the human brain. So, and even now, I don't know, well, now I don't know with AI, but for the longest time, there was no computer in the world that was faster at processing than the human brain, which seems kind of crazy when you think about like not being able to remember what you ate for lunch yesterday, which is what just popped into my mind because I don't remember. But when we are processing the world around us, triggering memories, what our nervous system is doing, what our gut and intestinal system and temperature regulation and our involuntary breathing or whatever, all processed by the brain at the same time. And then we're supposed to be cognizant and conscious of the world. I mean, if you think about what the brain is doing in any one moment, it's absolutely outstanding. And this is what I am all called to speak about when I look at this imagery. It's almost as if you are superimposing something onto something else. It's not like, usually when I say something like that, I say, oh, we're transmuting something, we're turning pain into power, we're turning something into something. That's not what I want to make that distinction. Spirit is saying it's an actual literal correlation that you are making. You're superimposing something onto something else and finding either synchronicity there or beautiful kismet, which is a little different than synchronicity because it's just, I mean, it could be seen as synchronicity, but sometimes when things just line up perfectly, there's such a magic about it. And there's something in your life that could be lining up perfectly, this kind of magic that you are witness to and privy to. And the fact that you are witness to it and conscious of it is kind of, sparking even more creativity, passion, ideas within you. It's fueling this inner drive. It's like somebody lit the match under you, right? Cardinal directions makes me think of the cardinal signs. And the cardinal signs in particular, what are the cardinal signs? Cancer, Libra, Aries, and somebody. I can't remember the last one. Cancer, Libra, Aries, Virgo? Wouldn't that be terrible, Virgo, if I couldn't remember if you were a cardinal sign? Because I can't. I'm not an astrologer. So the cardinal signs are having this kind of huge release because Pluto is no longer going to be in Capricorn. I don't know. Pluto is making some kind of moves, and it's been slow as molasses forever, and now it's going to move out of some transit, and then all the cardinal signs are supposed to just, it's like, poof, all of our worries are gone. At least that's what people are saying at the time that I am reading this message for you. So I don't mean to be, I'm a Cancer, so I'm all about whatever positivity is trying to come into my life. But what do the cardinal signs represent? They represent the beginning of their like season. They're the beginning signs. So they kind of like, they're like the ones that go through the door first. They're the ones that, oh, I don't want to try that. You try that first and you tell me if you like it. Which actually happened to me yesterday at dinner. You try it first and then tell me if you like it, and then I'll try it. It's not to say that the cardinal signs are experimental, but it's almost like they've just been tasked with being the oldest child and others to kind of lead the way so that others will follow. So the cardinal directions, though, north, south, east, and west, in this particular image, which is north, south, east, and west, I mean, it's not obvious to me. So that also talks about trying to get your bearings. Okay, so with this superimposition, you're seeing something lining up so beautifully. The fact that you're recognizing it in and of itself is like really trippy to you. Maybe you've never experienced that before. Maybe you're kind of spiritually turning on. You might have just been through Dark Night of the Soul, Kundalini awakening. This is what happens. It's like you cannot see the world the same way ever again. Once that pops off, right? That fire is lit underneath you. It's like the filter that you had of the world, it dissipates, and then you see things so clearly, if only for your own life. But that beautiful coalescence in and of itself could be really overwhelming. And so you could be trying to, this is a beautiful kind of chaos. It's a stunning chaos. Which way is up or down, left or right, inside or out? I think that you're looking at that right now. Spirit is not letting go of this thing that I saw. So eclipses are amazing for so many reasons, and I don't know when the next eclipse is, but this feels relevant. So maybe if you could look up for yourself when the next eclipse will be, partial, full, whatever. The reason why a total eclipse is so stunning and so miraculous in many ways, it has to do with the ratio of the moon to the sun. The reason why we can have totality at all is because, mathematically speaking, the moon is a near perfect ratio to of comparison to the sun. It's not a weird shape. It is a weird shape, but sorry about that. It's the shape and the size of the moon and the distance of the moon from the earth and between the moon and the sun is so perfect that when the sun shines from behind the moon and creates that total eclipse, it truly is, the odds of it being so perfect are literally astronomical. It's that superimposition that I was just speaking about. And if you were lucky enough to witness the recent totality that we had, then you will understand the complexity of the experience of you in relation to that, right? Here you are, little old human on the earth, witnessing something that, astronomically speaking, would almost seem like a near impossibility of the odds of witnessing something like that. So this is the level we're talking about here. It's so trippy and amazing, but this is where your brain is going, Virgo. And it feels perhaps to you extremely ungrounded because we're not talking about the ground. Now we're talking about things in like hyperspace. And you may feel at a loss as to how to articulate it, to describe it, to find meaning in it. You know that it excites you. You know that it must mean something. But what does it mean for your selfhood, for your everyday? How is this affecting you? How is this changing you? So let's get some tarot out and see. I'm going to get 3 cards for the base spread, 3 cards for clarifier. Past, present, future, advice from Spirit at the end. Very big energies. Past energy, Knight of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. So in the past, very, very earthly, earthbound, rooted, feet firmly planted, planting things, walking, feet to the ground. Page and Knight of Pentacles also, they're in succession in the tarot, right? These 2 cards are right next to each other in the order of the Pentacle suit, which is Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. Talks about earthly matters, material world matters, planting a seed, having a new experience, trying something new. That's what this card represents. This card, messages. You know, I have even more to say to you about that seed that you've planted. I have commentary and things that might help you in that endeavor. I might be moving a little slow though. My horse is a little slow. So the message could have been quite, it could have, okay, Spirit just said the word drudgery. In the past energy, things felt like they were moving a little too slowly for you. Why were you in a rush? Ten of Swords. Okay, Ten of Swords, air energy. By the time we reach the 10, a lot of contemplation happening. A lot of, right? Coming face to face with some harsh truths. But you can see the look of kind of acceptance on the man's face. And even the owl, it doesn't look imposing. It's almost like Eskimo kiss, right? That they say when you were younger, you rub your noses together with somebody. It's intimate. It's friendship. It's love. That's what I kind of feel with this card, that there's like an intimacy here of, but it's between you and yourself. It's you and your harsh truths. And this, you know, you could have been attempting to really jumpstart your new beginning, but as with all earth energy, it doesn't happen as quickly as we would like, because we're not just dealing with our energy in the world. We don't live in a vacuum. With earth energy, we're dealing with other people and other situations, outside factors that, especially when we're dealing with other people, they all have their own free will. So let me give you just a very pedantic example. Let's say you want to move to a new house, a new apartment, and you have the perfect location, but you can't quite move yet because the apartment is not available. The apartment that you want, that you know is yours, is not available to you yet because somebody still lives there. There's a whole host of factors that are involved with somebody living in the house that you eventually want, right? You know, they could live there for the next 20 years or they could move out tomorrow. It's all about their circumstances in their life and all of the factors, the external factors that influence what they are dealing with in the material world. So when I say the material world can be a little bit slow, it can be a little bit slow. But what was important was that you planted the seed of intention. You went out there, you took some steps. And then this energy here was just waiting for that confirmation. Okay, I did the right thing because I've learned some really hard lessons, some harsh truths, and now I'm trying to move forward, to evolve. And we want to skedaddle with it, right? Like, we don't want to sit in energy, even this beautiful energy, we don't want to sit in it. We want eventually the 10 to turn back to an Ace of Swords. In the tarot, the Ace of Swords is epiphany, breakthrough, right? It's cyclical. So in the present energy, very interesting, number 15 of the Major Arcana, the Devil. Capricorn energy, you could be dealing with a Capricorn, fellow earth sign. But I feel like no. You could be, but I feel like for the majority of you, no. The Devil is not something to be feared, it's just something to be recognized. Like this kind of, right? It could be the lingering effects of this energy where there was once a time where you felt trapped and bound. You know, looking at something like this scenario and feeling like, oh my God, I can't, I don't even know which direction I'm going in. I don't even know what way is up and what way is down. Where's the exit? When in fact it was just like, it was almost like Spirit just wanted me to say, it's not about the exit, it's about creation. Like, all of this is the majesty and creation of the world that you are surrounded by. It's almost like this is a representation of your consciousness, which is intricate and intelligent and beautiful, but it's complex. So with the Devil card in reverse in the present energy, it's almost like saying you're trying to kind of unshackle your belief system in thinking that this kind of energy is a trap. That's interesting. A Hanged Man in reverse. This is the card in the upright, Virgo and Pisces energy. Virgo, you showed up in your own reading, but it is in reverse. This is interesting because in this particular deck, the card in reverse looks like the normal view, right? We see the road and the house and everything just looks calm. But the card in the upright, everything's turned upside down. It's needing that change of perspective on this scenario here. It's needing to understand that it's almost like, okay, Spirit, it's like creating new neural pathways. You're making connections that were not made before. It's almost like the spiritual side is being lit up. It's like you've mastered, as an earth sign, you've mastered the material realm. That's your jam. That's what you do, and you do it well, and you know how. The spiritual side, and they don't have to be completely separate from one another, but it is a different, it's a different layer, right? This is one layer, and then we're superimposing another layer. It's a new world that you're creating with Spirit, and those pathways and connections are being created. And part of that is releasing preconception, biases, the things that, the trappings of daily life, the narratives you've told yourself. As you start to release from that energy, like, just imagine these bandages just kind of flying off one by one by one. You start to be loose, and you start to be free, and you start to kind of think outside the box. Whereas before, the box felt really cozy. Now we're kind of opening up. Getting this image of a game from the 80s, very old, just like me, of the old Atari game system. Actually, I don't know if this was an Atari game or like a Nintendo, like the first Nintendo, whatever. But I think it was Atari, and there was a game, you know, Atari back in the day, things were not rendered in 3 dimensions. They were rendered in 2 dimensions. So I'm seeing this game. I don't know if it was like a cops and robbers or something, and it was just levels. It was like levels of a building, but like imagine that the building was cut in half and you could see into the building. So you could see the robber was running, and the cop was chasing after him, but then he had to climb up a ladder and go to the next level. But it's all, you're seeing it in kind of 2 dimensions. It's very flat. And Spirit is asking you to reach outside of that flat dimensional thinking. It's not a criticism or not meant to offend. It's just like a metaphor for what I'm trying to explain. You're up leveling, but it's like you're bringing dimensionality to it. There's a whole dimensionality to it. It's not just where a mouse. Oh, there's a lot of laughter outside. It's not like you're a mouse in a maze, right? As we raise our consciousness up to another level, up to another dimension, it's like we're starting to think in a quantum way. We're starting to really exceed our own expectations of what our mind can do. But it starts with having the ability to see things from a different perspective. Because otherwise it's just always going to be this, which is fine. It's a little matrixy, if we want to think about it that way. You know, Spirit is really calling me to pull another card from this deck, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, look, see? It's number 57, which is a 12. The Hanged... 12, the Hanged Man. And the word is conception. How are we conceiving, conceptualizing our reality? This is very heady, so heady. It's almost like you're bored with the status quo, even if your personal status quo looks like this, which is pretty outstanding. You're bored. You're trying to concoct something a little bit more controversial, internally controversial. Because there's a consciousness within you that's awakened, and you know that there's more out there. There's more flavors to be savored, flavors of experience. In the future potential, 10 of Wands in the reverse. And the Awakening card, number 20, Major Arcana, it's the Judgment card in reverse. So there's a little bit of grappling, right? There's a little bit of having to release burden. It's difficult. It's difficult to just cast aside the world that we've created because we've become comfy cozy in it. Even if we hate it. And I hope that's not you. But even if we hate that situation, job, relationship, blah, 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 sometimes it's just easier, strangely comfortable, trauma bonding, Spirit just said. It takes a lot of courageousness to cast all of that burden aside, to put it down, in order to follow our life path, which is what the Judgment card is about. I'm going to get a clarifier for that card. Yeah, see? Amazing. King of Swords, Gemini energy. Ooh, this card could not have popped out at a more spectacular moment, because you see in this, see what that is? That's a labyrinth. And where is the King of Swords standing in relation to that labyrinth? He's standing above it, right? Just like this. It's like this is the labyrinth behind you. King of Swords is somebody who is an expert, is very discerning, not only in what they think, but also in the company they keep. They're very learned people. And so even in this energy, which usually tends towards the rational, the factual, the empirical. Thank you, Spirit. It's like you're taking the King of Swords and the King of Swords energy, and you're applying it to the spiritual for yourself. And if you don't like to use that word spiritual, okay, nope, we're using the word spiritual. We're taking all those aspects of the King of Swords, the deep process of dissemination and discernment, right? Dissemination, taking in all the data and then like trying to figure it out piece by piece, and then kind of putting it in its proper place. We're taking that King of Swords energy and we're using it to help us understand the spiritual aspect. So it's funny because I've been listening to Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's just, I mean, who doesn't love Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? He's just kind of lovable. But, you know, he's said some things, you know, about Pluto actually not being a planet. I don't think he'll ever live that one down, but I've been listening to his YouTube/podcast, and it's absolutely incredible, and it's fun, and it kind of makes it accessible for the lay person like me. I love watching things about science. Absolutely love it. I love learning about our world. But he very much makes a very hard separation between science and spirituality, science and religion, and science and in his world there's no room for that. And from his world I could understand why, because you're basing things on empirical evidence. Right now, if you found evidence that God existed, it would be hard for a scientist to dispute it. If you found evidence, a spiritual person would look at that same sentence and say, God exists in literally everything around me. Spirit is everything and everywhere, including science, including consciousness, which the episode I just watched of his podcast was the debate between, is there such a thing as consciousness? So you can absolutely find the marriage between what's going on in the material world, the 3D world, and what's going on in the great beyond inside of your mind. The fun part is when you can marry those two and make it all work for you. I'm going to get one card of advice from Spirit. Queen of Pentacles. Page, Knight, now the Queen of Pentacles in the same reading. Whatever you decide to do it with a lot of grace. However you decide to lead your life, You're doing it with intention, right? You can see here she's kind of looking at this seed that has been planted, right? You notice here, these two characters, they have keys, keys, key. It's this idea that as the page, we planted the seed, right? And then we waited for the instructions on how to care for it. By the time we get to the queen, we're now cultivating that. We're bringing that back out again as something that was more evolved, bigger than it was before. What is the point of any of this? What is the point of up-leveling? What is the point of challenging ourselves? What's the point? The point to me would be your unique perspective and contribution to the universe, to the world. It's precisely your unique perspective that makes you astronomically miraculous. That's your reading, Virgo. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Virgo.